This is what I wore to the Colorado Women's Chamber of Commerce meeting today. I thought I looked really cute, but it didn't matter. They were racist. I just got back from my first meeting from the perspective session for Women's Chamber of Commerce. Knives is also here to speak about her experience, but I just want you to know she is a white puppy, so she has a different experience from me, considering that she is
not a puppy of color. You don't have any color on you.
Key takeaways from the Women's Chamber of Commerce perspective session was that it basically felt like a big networking membership. Something else that I will say is that it seemed like there was a lot of like white ignorance when it came to speaking about minorities, speaking about, BIPOC community, just diversity in general, like definitely ignorance, racism. One of the biggest racist things that I saw there was that when I asked about diversity, they said that they love to contribute to diversity even though it's separate from their community. I'm going to repeat that. The Women's Chamber of Commerce loves to contribute to diversity even though it is separate from their community. No, that's not okay. Not only was I the only brown person in that room, it was just really disappointing to see how they spoke about diversity that was a separate entity from community. We know that diversity and community are not separate because diversity exists within community. Diversity exists within community even when it's not being acknowledged. Even when people refuse to acknowledge us, we are still there in those spaces. So when we talk about diversity, we're talking about acknowledging, representing the people who are already there in our communities. It's that simple. It is not, diversity is not separate from community. Anytime this person who is leading the Perspective Women's Chamber of Commerce session spoke about diversity, she would look at me, make eye contact with me as if I was going to give her the stamp of approval, like, yeah, that sounds good. Like, yeah, definitely, you're being an ally. No. There was also a very us versus them mentality, which I hated. The us versus them mentality that was being touted by this person who is leading the Women's Chamber of Commerce perspective member session was basically saying, oh, I'm so tired of like seeing old white men in like the boardroom and being like the only woman in these spaces. But she did not speak to her authority, why she's trustworthy, her experience, what makes her like a trustworthy figure to us. It just sounded like this person was trying to resonate with everybody on an us versus them mentality. Like, aren't you tired of this? Like, and it was just that. Like, it felt very flat. I just didn't feel anything from that. For a range of a $475 membership for solopreneurs and corporate level individual, it's basically just networking. At a $10,000 level, it is basically networking. It felt like an MLM, and how there are different levels of different networking events that you can attend. So level 1 is $475. Level 2 is like another amount, and it's just basic, and it's just basically more networking events that you can attend, which I see community so much more differently than they do. It's just extremely disappointing to see that this is how they see it. When they spoke about the diversity that they work with, they did not say what they do, not say how they help, what difference it makes, what return they see on both ends, like what the relationship is like, if it's symbiotic, what value they bring and what value they receive, which is really important to know when you're investing money in a community like this. They said that they work with the Asian Chamber, which I don't know what that means. And I don't know. Here's nice. I know you guys are asking for her. I don't know what that means when they said that they work with the Asian Chamber, when they work with the Black Chamber, when they work with the Native American Chamber. But it just felt like they were listing off like their friends of color, and this is why they're diverse and inclusive. that is so useless. Like, we know diversity is not separate. And they did not speak anything of value to what they do at these chambers, what these chambers do for them, what these chambers do for themselves. So it wasn't educational, it wasn't useful in any regards. And I would give it a major thumbs down. Thanks for listening to my Retro Denver Friends series. I really appreciate you guys. And I'm thankful for all of the supportive messages you sent me, because I read through every single one of them, and I'm still getting back to some of them too. I would really love to hear if anybody has also had this experience within the Women's Chamber of Commerce of Colorado, or from prospective member sessions at the Women's Chamber of Commerce Colorado. It's really important that we know that these things are happening and that we're able to share them with each other. So be sure to leave a comment below with your experience. Tell me what it was like, if it was anything similar to mine, or if it was completely different, and if you do have any positive takeaways, because I would love to know where the value is as a person of color in the Colorado Women's Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, friends, for dropping in. I really appreciate you. And if you don't mind liking, sharing, saving, and following.